Hello, Facebook world. This is Len Nevin with Loyalty Home Group at eXp Realty. I'm going to let this thing churn and burn and load up here for a minute before I get going. Have some interesting stuff to talk about today, so we'll talk about that stuff as we get going. Just want to make sure I can get this going and see what I can do. Let's see. There we go. All right. Sitting live now. All right. Good to go. So what's going on in the real estate world? It's Thursday. I like Thursdays. Thursday is my favorite day of the week for real estate for one and one reason only. It's the day that the Freddie Mac website puts out the current interest rates. And why I like looking at that is because it basically just kind of sets the tone for the week as far as the way things are going. Is there going to be an uptick in applications? What are the buyers going to think of it? How does it affect the cost of the home? Is it moving down? Is it moving up? How does it relate to the stock market? All that stuff. So without further ado, how are rates? So what did rates do today? So let's pop over here and I'll show you. So what you'll see here is the Freddie Mac website. So like I said, I go to this every day or every Thursday morning. It's pretty simple to get to, freddiemac.com/PMMS, or I always just go in here and I Google Freddie Mac interest rates. That's my Google search every week. It takes me right where I want to go, and here we are. So the story for this week is mortgage interest rates increase. Pipeline purchase demand continues, blah, blah, blah. So while there's demand, one of the reasons why interest rates drop is because there's a lack of demand. So the banks are like, look, we got to get things moving. So we got to drop rates and make things more affordable. When the things catch up, they're kind of like, all right, let's slow it down. We don't have to be giving away our money basically in order to get things done. So this week, the interest rate for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is pegging at 3.56. Once again, when we talk about interest rates, we're not necessarily saying that you can go into your bank and get 3.56, but that's the base rate that the bank is working off of, that your lender is working off of. And then what you get above that is basically going to be dependent on what type of purchase. Is it an initial purchase? Is it a refi? Is it a secondary home? Is it an investment purchase? What's your credit score? What's your down payment? All of those things become factors in how much above that rate do you get to take advantage of. And so for an example, last week, we were at 3.49. So it went up 0.07%, which is really not horrible. Let's backtrack to a year from ago. I mean, look at where we were a year ago. A year ago, so September of a year ago, September 13th, we were at 4.6%. So we're at more than a full percent less this year than we were a year ago. And look what we went into during the fall. So September was here at 4.6, and then it just climbed. And all I heard from my colleagues across the country was, the sky is falling, real estate's going to die, we're going to crash, what are we going to do? Nobody's going to buy. And then the market reacted because people did slow down. Agents were talking about it. The newspaper outlets were talking about it. It just got talked about a lot, and we saw a slowdown in certain markets, and then the rates kind of reacted and said, look, we can't kill it, and we actually saw the Fed interest rate increasing at that same time. So it wasn't just the interest rates, it wasn't just the banks kind of being greedy, but you actually saw the Fed increasing rates. And then, of course, the Fed dropped the rate 25 basis points recently, and we've continued to see the rates drop down here to the 3.5 that we're at today. I read an article this morning. They're talking about potentially another 25 to 50 basis points cut, probably not for another month or a few weeks if they're going to do it at all. some people are pushing for us to go to the 0% negative interest rates. A lot of Europe is already doing that. I don't necessarily know how I personally feel about it, but I'm not that guy who knows all that stuff. So, there's number crunchers and bean counters who probably understand why that would be a benefit to us more than I could. So I'm not really going to comment on it. I'm just saying I read about it. Just so, Google search it, you'll find some information on it. But this I understand, because what this means is that if I was looking at a $350,000 home back in November of last year versus a $350,000 home here, I know one thing's for a fact. It's cheaper to buy that $350,000 home today than it was back in November. Now, the reality is because of the interest rate drops and because of our other issue, which is our inventory issue, that $350,000 home, while you could get into a $350,000 mortgage for cheaper than you could, for less money every month than you could, you can get it, it's lower today than it would be back then. The price of that same $350,000 home is probably now base even. You probably end up at the same cost per month for that same house. So even though you're spending more money to get into it, it's probably going to cost you the same. So that's the beautiful thing about the interest rate dropping like it is with prices increasing and the prices go up, interest rate drops, it keeps your monthly payment roughly the same as you're moving up. So that's always a benefit from when you're talking about, just kind of a cash flow type conversation and doing what you got to do to, stay in touch with, stay on your budget, basically, is the best way to kind of describe it. So inventory. So let's talk about inventory. So interest rates are obviously driving buyers in, the last 30 days. All I've been reading about is like refis. Buyers are back in the market where they've maybe been taking a nap. A little tick like this, if I was a buyer, I would probably think, oh shoot, I don't know where this is going. One thing to look at is, what's going on overall in the global economy type thing. So let's look at the stock market today. So this is a live look at where the stock market is sitting today, at least the Dow Jones. And you'll see that the day kind of started off here right around the 27, 150 mark right there. And right now at this second, it's trading at 27,263. Closes in about an hour. So we'll see where that goes. But you'll notice right here, this is that 52-week high. The high for the year is 27,397. So all day, the market has been kind of flirting. It hit 306, 302, kind of flirting with breaking and hitting a year-end high. And right now we're bounced down for a minute. Something came out where they were saying that there's going to be no deal on the trade war thing with China. So it shot down, but then shot back up, shot back down. Now it's kind of an inching back up. I think personally, investors want to see a year-end high. Once it hits that, it could go do one thing or the other. But the reality is that people, when they look at their interest rates, they're like, okay, well, is this going to go up just like this may go down? And the answer is nobody knows. So whether, the age-old question is, should I buy now or should I wait? Here's the one thing that's not going to change. This is a live look inside of the Arizona Multiple Listing Service, the amount of homes that are available for sale. And right now there are 17,756 available homes. Actually, that's active and under contract. So if you just take away the under contract ones, 13,570. There's 200 people a day moving to this area. And if I look at the amount of properties that are under contract right now, 11,000 properties that are under contract with 13,000 available. A normal healthy market in the Phoenix area would be that you would hit this active number and it would say something like 24,000, 22,000. It's 13,000. So we're at a drastically low inventory, which means that our buyers don't have a lot to choose from. So when they go out shopping, they're like, look, it's either take it or leave it is the mentality that you have to take, um, unfortunately. Um, but the thing that's nice is the crappy homes, and it's probably the best technical term I can come up with. The crappy homes aren't selling, and I love seeing that because your buyer, even though they have not a lot to choose from, they're still being picky. So if you're trying to sell your home, you can't just throw up this piece of junk and expect it to sell for top dollar. The buyer will wait. They're patient enough. They've got historical low interest rates to choose from. So they're not having this same glut of, issues. They're just looking at it going, all right, that's cool. Like, rates are low, inventory is low, but, at the end of the day, I want the right house for me and my family. So you're seeing them be a little bit more patient. The house is pristine, moving condition. That's my best bet. If you're a seller and you get a quote, paint, new floors, whatever, get new appliances, and you're like, look, it's going to cost me 10 grand. I can almost guarantee you that 10 grand will come right back in your pocket and then a little bit more, mainly because that buyer does not want to have to do a thing. Because the houses that don't have to do it, they don't have to do a thing. They just move in. Those ones are gone the minute, literally hours after they hit the market. And that's still across the board, everybody I talk to across the country. So it's not just a Phoenix thing. It's a Chicago thing. It's an LA thing. It's a, New Hampshire thing. It's a, Miami thing. No matter where it's at, people are saying, that thing's junk. I don't want it. That thing's beautiful. I'll take it. And there's 10 people behind them saying, I want the beautiful one. So, I talked to a seller the other day who she had some bad luck selling her home. And she admitted, she goes, I know my house needs some work. I know it needs some updating, but the market's crazy. And, if they want it, they can have, they're going to have to just take it the way it is. And I want top dollar. I said, I'm like, too bad. Like, it's not going to happen. And her 9 months on the market being 20,000 overpriced for the things that need to be done are proof of that. And so I think that people can't just look at, this story saying there's only 13,000 properties available. I can just throw up whatever I want, whenever I want. I think it's okay. They have to look at it and say, well, it's got to be nice. People got to be able to move into it. I've said this before, and I've said it for years, and I'll say it again. Especially when you're looking at like these first-time home buyer price ranges, even the first move up, for growing family. If I'm moving into a house and I've got kids and school and sports and whatever, I've got bills, right? And so I have the money to move into the house and keep moving my life forward. But I don't want to have to move in and then all of a sudden come up with an extra 50 grand to update the house if I don't have to. If the other houses are out there and saying, look, the house is perfect, I'm fine saving up a little bit of money for maybe a pool or something like that. But, having to put my family through a construction project may not be the best advice for 90% of the families. Yes, I understand, that there's a lot of opportunities out there for you to get sweat equity, but you have to be willing to do it. The problem is some sellers are having their houses up for sale that need sweat equity, but they're asking a price as if the house was turnkey and move-in ready, and that won't work, and the buyers will absolutely reject it. The appraisers will reject it. So it's a double-edged sword, but it is what it is. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Interest rates creeping up, no big deal. I think if you're looking to buy, and it's been a great time. There's great properties out there. The month of August saw a little bit of a lower inventory, like properties hitting the market. We're starting to see a lot more coming soon signs and more signs in the neighborhood. So we're, hoping that, the fall will provide a little bit more inventory for the buyers who, have been looking for a while. I talked to a woman the other day. They've been looking for months, and they got in contact with me. And, I just said, look, I'm like, in this market, we've got to be hyper aggressive, and we got to be able to get into properties the second they hit the market, because they're in that 325 price range, and that's just flying off the shelves here in the Phoenix market. And they're unfortunately the agent that they've been working with, which they've now cut ties with, basically was, not available. Well, yeah, it just hit the market today. It's 10 a.m. All right, well, can we get in there tomorrow? The agent's like, yeah, we can get in. I'll schedule a showing for tomorrow at 3. It's gone. Comes on the market at 10. What are you doing right now? Let's go over there. So a little bit of advice if you're out there, house shopping, looking at stuff. Make sure your agent is on the ball. Make sure they understand how to use the ASAP feature inside of our multiple, listing search service, so that you're getting the properties. I mean, I always visualize an agent sitting here and putting their new listing. They hit enter, which means publish. The second it hits the MLS, you get notification. So I mean, there's a way for you to get that information on that property that fits your needs within milliseconds of that agent publishing the property. And unfortunately, I would say about 75 to 80% of the agents don't know how to use that feature. And it's super simple to set up, but it takes a little bit of learning just to know where it's at. Once you know where it's at, easy breezy. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in here. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. If you have any questions about what your home is currently worth, if you're thinking about selling, one of the things that we offer all of our sellers is a free consultation to come over and talk about, look, these are the upgrades that you can do. We have amazing vendors that we partner with that can get the work done for almost guarantee a lot less expensive and the same quality than what you could find if you're, opening up the Yellow Pages. That goes to show you how old I am saying the Yellow Pages. But, if you're doing your own research and trying to find your own vendors, I almost guarantee you, because we use a lot of vendors quite a bit, that they give our clients volume discounts. So, we can give you some people to choose from, and you can interview them as well, get quotes from multiple people. But it'll make a big difference and help you get your property sold instantaneously. You'd be surprised how much a fresh coat of paint and new floors will do for the sale of a home. Even though the old adage is, well, I don't want to paint it, I don't want to do this, because what if they don't like the style? It's not so much anymore about them liking what you chose. Pick neutral stuff that is like in style right now. If they don't like it, at least they can move in. It'll still look nice, and when they get around to it, they can change it. But if the walls are all beat up and in bad shape, they can't even move in, and they may have a truck. I mean, I have a closing happening as we speak. We're waiting on the recording, all the signing and all that stuff's been done. We're waiting for the county to record it. These people are literally sitting at, down the street waiting for the button to get pushed from the county saying it's good to go. And they've got a moving truck and they're waiting to move in. And these are the buyers. I was representing the seller, and that, makes a difference. They've got to move right in. So this house was prepped and ready to go so they could move right in, and that made a difference. So anyways, any questions, reach out. That's what I'm here for. We love answering questions. We can help you out coast to coast. We're part of the largest real estate, single-owned real estate company in the country. So we've got agents all over 50 states, all provinces in Canada. So we can help you out. And we've got, like I said, great referral partners no matter where you're at. Thanks. Talk to you guys next week.